He is the #1 cheat player on the world. By using cheat skills, he maxed out all his stats. However, he was exposed for cheating and doing 50 marriages. Adding to the injury, he was permanently banned from the game. While the advance aid, I had made sure to not let him back again. And since he was rejected from all kinds of the physical jobs due to his heart condition, so he goes to the roof to end his life. However, a red-dressed woman comes in the meantime. Unexpectedly, she reveals that she is his first wife and says some mysterious information that manages to change his mind. And as they hurry to get on the Starship, the intro concludes. Watch the full video to find out. The story unfolds with the protagonist asking if anyone wonders how it might feel to have lived for tens of thousands of years. He expresses a desire not to answer this question himself as his life is currently about to end. He has lived for tens of thousands of years, though it was all in virtual worlds. The current world he is in is Earth OL, a virtual world. His name, Peng Zhu, and his age, 800 years old. He asks a woman named Bao Bao if she dragged him out there just to show him that. He looks over at two people, calling them brats for polluting the river. Bao Bao eyes them as well, questioning their purpose for washing charcoal in the river. One man claims charcoal can be sold for a good price after being washed, to which Peng Zhu, despite living 880 years, says he's never seen anyone washing charcoal. He tells those men to stop imagining things, stop washing, and hurry back home. With a creepy smile, one of them remarks that Peng Zhu's longevity is more bizarre than washing charcoal, while the other orders Peng Zhu to come with them, prompting Peng Zhu to inquire why and where they intend to take him. Suddenly, the two guys pose in strange movements, summoning a massive amount of dark energy. The massive surge of energy surrounds the two guys, including Peng Zhu. Peng Zhu admits that he was careless. Holding onto his sword, his outline glows as he asks the two if they think they can kick him out. He then raises his hand, summoning golden and white streaks of energy himself. The two's faces screw and struggle as Peng Zhu summons huge, fierce-looking creatures. The intensity of the energy causes the two guys to cover their faces as they are sent backwards with force. One exclaims it's bad, unable to contain Peng Zhu's skills any longer, while the other urges Qiaonyang to step up and assist. Peng Zhu is shocked to hear the villain utter his wife's maiden name. A woman appears beside Peng Zhu, revealing she has borne him 2 sons, discovered his real name and address, and suggests he go quietly with them or risk his real body being destroyed. Peng Zhu steps back, turning towards Qiaonyang, recognizing she is an enforcer. Meanwhile, the two guys, with a smile, declare it's their chance. Both of them yell loudly and create a tornado-like thing from the dark energy. The attack strikes Peng Zhu, who screams out. Peng Zhu admits his real name is Sun Ran and he is a player hiding amidst virtual worlds where he is almost invincible. He removes the VR set and slumps out of the chair onto the ground, claiming he is an underclass in the real world, suffering from heart disease and might die at any moment. With his condition, no one would believe him if he told others he is a big shot in the virtual world. But the world has never lacked tragedies, and he is just one of many. With 30 billion humans in the Solar System Federation and living spaces on various planets, the Federation developed virtual worlds for people to inhabit and experience new lives. Around 10 years ago, the first virtual world, Earth OL, was born. Sun Ran, who had been waiting for an opportunity, entered the virtual worlds when he got the chance. With his superior game experience, he was able to find a rare divine artifact, the Jade Butterfly of Creation. He managed to reverse engineer the data of the divine artifact and obtained the highest level of administrative rights in the virtual Earth. The authority allowed him to remove the restrictions, and he became the great creator, the one above all rules of the game in Earth OL. He was the strongest cheat user. With his perks, he has experienced a life spanning tens of thousands of years in the past 10 years as time in virtual worlds flows at a different rate. But he was never discovered. However, he is now shocked to have been finally exposed. As for a hacker, getting exposed is like presenting yourself naked in front of everyone. He is wondering how he got exposed as he tries to think of any reasons. He believes it must have happened on his wedding night when he suddenly suffered a heart attack in reality and got disconnected, not having enough time to wipe his connection information. He curses his congenital heart disease. The system informs Sun Ran he has received an email from the virtual world's administrative HQ. He turns to the screen as it informs him the email lists all the crimes he committed in the virtual world along with his corresponding punishments. The first crime Sun Ran committed has cost him a fine of 900 million credit points. Seeing such a huge amount, Sun Ran is thunderstruck as he only gets 2,000 credit points in his annual credit point benefits, and he bellows out how he will pay that off. Sun Ran is surprised to learn that 3 women abstain from taking action. He asks the system for information about them, but it refuses, citing a confidentiality agreement, prompting Sun Ran to slam the VR set on the table in frustration. He sits down in despair, realizing he is done for, as the central AI will be watching his moves, so he can't pull off stunts in the virtual world. He reveals that in the past, he was unable to get ordinary jobs and is worried about how he will pay off his debt now. He had been refused jobs because of his health condition, but once some dudes had offered him a position as a male escort and he considers it, but he declares he would rather die than be a male escort. Seeing no other options, he decides to end it all, thinking he has already experienced thousands of years in virtual worlds and the real world has nothing for him to live on. He stands on the edge of a tall building, trying to force himself to jump off as he doesn't even have money to cure his heart disease, due to which he might die anyway. He is willing to follow his heart and jump rather than live a life worse than death. At that moment, a woman appears behind Sun Ran, asking him if he really is considering jumping. Sun Ran turns around and notices a woman who reminds him of his promise to grow old with her and questions his intentions of dying and abandoning her. Alarmed, Sun Ran asks her who she is, thinking there is no way a beautiful woman like her would talk to him in the real world. The woman flexes her hair and Sun Ran stares at her. Horror-struck, Sun Ran asks her if she is his first wife in Earth OL. Unable to believe it, he mentions that players typically seal off their existing memory when entering the virtual world to experience a brand new life and experiences. Sun Ran, looking worried, assumes the woman must have taken the role seriously, calling it troublesome. The woman turns around and tells Sun Ran to follow her to her car, prompting Sun Ran to ask where they are heading. He tells the woman their time spent was just in the game and it's not serious, to which the woman says she didn't take it seriously and tells him they are going to the hospital. Sun Ran questions why they are going to the hospital as the woman enters her car. She tells Sun Ran they will go there for a heart transplant. Sun Ran, in the vehicle with the woman, mentions the transplant's costliness, asking why she's helping him, to which she admires his game skills and doesn't want his talent wasted. She tells Sun Ran the 30,000 credits are on loan so he can pay her back in the future. She asks Sun Ran how much debt he owes as he was considering taking his life, and Sun Ran says it's not much, only a little over 900 million. Hearing such a huge amount, the woman slams the brakes, shouting in disbelief. She sighs and tells Sun Ran he might be stuck with her for a while. She says she might have a job for Sun Ran which will help him pay off his debts and introduces herself as Lan Xian, a part of the Enforcer Alliance and a Dark Steel level Enforcer. Sun Ran is surprised to learn she is an Enforcer. With the birth of the virtual worlds, many organizations developing cheat engines emerged, whose cheats allowed players to obtain great power in the virtual worlds. The sale of cheat engines has become a gray area as game companies don't allow their existence, and meanwhile, those who use cheat engines are known as destroyers. To combat the destroyers, the enforcers were established, and game companies gave them the freedom to use cheat engines to deal with the destroyers. Sun Ran asks Lan Xian if she wants him to be a glorious enforcer and reminds her he is monitored by the central AI. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran that as enforcers are on the side of the law, the AI won't interfere with his lawful actions and asks him if he will consider her offer. Sun Ran realizes he will get a healthy heart and his extraordinary life again and agrees it's the best possible choice. So, with a smile, he agrees to Lan Xian's offer, assuring her he will be more than worth her while. He says that having lived for tens of thousands of years, his feeling is such that he wants to live for tens of thousands of years more. There are 3 residential levels in the Earth Alliance, and out of the 30 billion, only 10 million can live in the Zenith. The second level is the Garden, an artificial landscape, where the middle class resides. And the lowest level is the Common Ground, with turbid air, dull streets, and narrow streets. Lan Xian's lodge is in the Common Ground District 55. Sun Ran checks out a picture on the wall, seeing Lan Xian has pasted herself on the Zenith. He turns around and sees Lan Xian holding the sensorial chair. She brushes her hair, asking Sun Ran how his heart is. Sun Ran pulls his shirt, revealing something pasted on his chest as he says it feels fine, praising the advanced technology resulting in the heart transplant being easier. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran to stay there in the living room and then they connect to the headquarters. Turning away, she says she will be in her room, warning Sun Ran not to barge in. As she slams the door, Sun Ran comments they have lived together for 10 years so there's no need for her to be shy. He then sits down on the chair, grabbing the VR glasses. He puts them on as it initializes connection. The system performs Sun Ran's physical analysis and begins connecting to a virtual address, completing the login. With a blinding flash of light, Sun Ran finds himself standing on a grass-covered hillside. Looking around, he asks what's this, and Lan Xian, who appears behind him, explains it's the Enforcer Alliance's headquarters, Cube of Order. In front of them is a massive cube as Lan Xian explains there are more than 5 million Enforcers in the Alliance, and the cube maintains the balance of each virtual world, causing Sun Ran to exclaim in awe. Sun Ran thinks that most of those 5 million people are in the Enforcer to earn their livelihood and believes they aren't really skilled. Lan Xian says that her team is called Rose of Thorns with 3 members, for including Sun Ran, causing Sun Ran to ask her why she needs him when she already has teammates. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran that she needs someone good and that not everyone has the ability to cheat 22. She heartily welcomes Sun Ran, who is experienced and skilled. With a smirk, Sun Ran tells Lan Xian she has come to the right guy, calling her Xianer. Lan Xian corrects Sun Ran for calling her Xianer, insisting he call her Lan Xian, and warns him not to touch her teammates, referring to them as her besties. Sun Ran asks what if they hit on him, and Lan Xian says she won't allow that. Sun Ran peers through the door as it opens and gasps in shock seeing whoever is in. The ladies in the room wave at Sun Ran while one of them calls him hubby, happy to see him. Lan Xian introduces the ladies to Sun Ran. He lady with red hair is Kur, Sun Ran's 49th wife in Earth OL. The other woman is by Ting Xian, who was Sun Ran's 48th wife in Earth OL. And finally, Lan Xian says her codename is Red Rose and says they are Iron level Enforcers. Lan Xian was Sun Ran's first wife in Earth OL. Sun Ran realizes these 3 women must be the ones who didn't press charges. He turns to Ting Xian and tells her politely it's nice to meet her, and she tells him he is too polite. He then turns to Kur and asks how she has been, and before he can talk about an incident in the bedroom, she shouts at him to shut up. Lan Xian turns away and says that's enough and suggests they get down to business. All 4 of them sit down, and Lan Xian tells Sun Ran he is a trainee enforcer and he must accumulate qualifications and can only join missions once promoted to Iron level. Sun Ran asks how he can do that. Lan Xian suggests him to go to small and newly created virtual worlds and complete commissions there. Saying so, Lan Xian hands over the screen to him, mentioning a commission from Sure Virtual Company for their virtual world, Dragon Age. Taking the screen, Sun Ran asks what's wrong with it. Lan Xian explains that the Dragon Age virtual world has been plagued with vampires, werewolves, and evil spirits despite the world being 6 months new, and people are also using cheats. Moreover, there's a serious problem as a destroyer has gained control of that world's strongest creature, the giant divine dragon, and it's suspected that the rival company is behind it. Sun Ran says that it sounds interesting and asks Lan Xian if she wants him to be the dragon slayer. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran she doesn't need him to slay the dragon and instructs him to assist a bronze enforcer hired by Sure Company in slaying the dragon. Sun Ran agrees and asks how long it will take. Lan Xian tells him the only requirement to qualify as an enforcer is to slay the dragon and suggests he completes it as fast as possible, reminding him of the 500 credit point reward. Sun Ran considers the 500 credit points to be cheap, but he rationalizes that it makes sense since the Rose of Thorns is only an Iron level team, leading to lower commission fees. He realizes he can't use cheats like before but deems a task to protect someone as no challenge. He turns to Lan Xian, ready to sign the papers and addressing her Xianer, receiving disapproval from her for addressing her that. The agreement states that 95% of the commission will be credited to Lan Xian and the remaining 5% will be used to compensate Earth OL's service provider. Lan Xian refrains herself from accepting the terms. Meanwhile, Sun Ran smirks at Lan Xian and is ready to give all his earnings to her as he would be better off dead without her. Lan Xian remains silent, lost in thought. She decides to accept the terms and signs the agreement. Sun Ran winks as he is okay with Lan Xian using his earnings as much as she wants, and he decides he will take care of her as her husband. Kur tells Lan Xian she is spacing off and reminds them they are discussing the commission, causing Lan Xian to startle. Lan Xian apologizes, smiling awkwardly, and says she was thinking of something. Sun Ran stands up and says he has accepted the commission and is ready to be the bodyguard in Dragon Age OL. Lan Xian tells him to continue and be careful. The next moment, Sun Ran vanishes in pixels. Then Kur asks Lan Xian if it won't be risky to work with Sun Ran as he is an unfathomable man. Lan Xian turns to Ting Xian, seeking her opinion as she is skilled at reading people. Ting Xian responds that having lived with Sun Ran for 10 years, he is trustworthy. Lan Xian states she checked Sun Ran's records and found he had a high status, mentioning that in 800 years, he never took a concubine, always married his partners, and treated his wives kindly. Kur adds that Sun Ran was very good to her and asks Ting Xian if she's interested in defending him. Ting Xian replies that Sun Ran isn't a bad guy and expresses no interest in him. Kur whispers to Ting Xian, agreeing she might not be interested in Sun Ran but claims Lan Xian is definitely interested in him. Looking furious, Lan Xian denies Kur's claims and suggests they forget the topic and focus on their own mission. Ting Xian and Kur both chuckle. District 55. A door opens, and the door lock gives out errors. Sun Ran walks to the chair and says the combination of the lock is a piece of cake for him. Inside the chair, Lan Xian is in deep sleep, currently in the virtual world, and on the screen, it shows 32 current limits. Sun Ran says he hacked in to take a quick look and is shocked to see only 32 points left. He realizes Lan Xian used all of her savings to save him and didn't even establish a written agreement. He asks if she wasn't afraid he might have run off. Putting his hand on his chest, he claims he won't forget Lan Xian's favor to him. He goes back to his own room and puts on the VR glasses. Inspired by Lan Xian's wish, he's determined to work hard and earn money to make her dream of entering the Zenith a reality. As he begins to log into the virtual world, Dragon Age, he gives a smirk, declaring himself ready. The system starts establishing the connection, taking a considerably long time and asking to please wait. Sun Ran opens his eyes, sensing something is off. He looks around, and everywhere is bright light and nothing in sight, and he is puzzled. He wonders if someone interrupted his connection and thinks the culprit must be highly skilled. He turns around to find a strange kid who greets him and says he is glad to meet him. Sun Ran is taken aback seeing the stranger knows his name as he asks who he is. The stranger bows to Sun Ran and introduces itself as the Earth's central AI and claims it is monitoring his every move. It tells Sun Ran that without it, his agreement with Lan Xian wouldn't have passed. Sun Ran asks the AI why he brought him here. The AI snaps its fingers, summoning 2 chairs, and tells Sun Ran to take his seat. It acknowledges Sun Ran as a peerless genius in the game and informs him his teachings about cheat engines in Earth OL's Xiao Palace have created troublesome disciples who call themselves saints. It explains that those disciples ignored the game's rules and the Earth OL's service providers were unable to collect credit points from them, resulting in a conflict. Sun Ran is appalled hearing this, and it points to Sun Ran, accusing him of the origin of all those problems. Sun Ran asks the AI what it wants him to do. The AI agrees to give Sun Ran 2 options. The first option, Sun Ran refuses to cooperate, labeled a terrorist, triggering the AI to activate the ultra-military satellite weapon, obliterating Lan Xian and Sun Ran's bodies in the real world. In the second option, Sun Ran can agree to help eliminate the Saints to stabilize Earth OL, with his debt to be forgiven, and the AI offers him and Lan Xian a place in the Zenith. Sun Ran exclaims he has no choice. He explains he no longer holds the highest level of administrative rights, unable to use cheat engines due to restrictions, and asserts he must earn a promotion to a gold-level enforcer through regular means before entering Earth OL, requesting the AI's cooperation. The AI agrees to cooperate with Sun Ran. It says it will tamper with Sun Ran's purchase records and legalize the cheat engines he can use. To prevent undesired circumstances, the time flow rate in Earth OL has been slowed, granting Sun Ran 3 years to prepare, equivalent to a century in Earth OL, while his identity is now classified as a top secret within the alliances and all his data has been wiped. Sun Ran thinks the first step towards gold-level enforcer should be completing the mission in Dragon Age and obtaining the qualification to be an enforcer. The system informs Sun Ran will now enter the Dragon Age virtual worlds and checks his stats, finding it legal. It grants him permission to enter. A list of guiding principles of the enforcers is displayed for Sun Ran to follow. Reading the rules, Sun Ran realizes he can only use cheats below level 1 and down, and he admits his days of living a life of destroyer are over and he is tied down by his own principles. Looking excited, he longs to see what the world looks like as his body turns into pixels, transferring into the Dragon Age. Having entered the world, he exclaims that it hurts and notices his beaten-up body, wondering if he possessed the body of a player whose game time is coming to an end. He is sitting down, his back resting on a big boulder as something appears before him. A massive tiger, snarling its teeth, approaches Sun Ran. Sun Ran believes he is in this situation as part of a test, and if he loses against the tiger, he will probably be kicked out right away, failing his commission. Thousands of meters below the Holy Palace, In Dragon Age, player supervision headquarters. The system announces that the enforcers are starting to enter the game, already 359 of them, and orders to begin the assessment. It gives a series of announcements of all the killed enforcers, which include number 1, number 8, and number 21. Chen Hansheng, the chief inspector of Dragon Age, says it's not easy to become an enforcer. Back in the forest, Sun Ran discards the bow, admitting cold weapons aren't his forte, recalling an enforcer's guiding principle to respect the local culture and customs, realizing mages exist legally in this world. And he draws a half circle on the ground with magic. Back at the headquarters, Hansheng, witnessing Sun Ran's actions through a monitor, doesn't look pleased with his actions, but analyzing closely, he tells the observers to wait. Sun Ran has drawn a shape on the ground as he decides to do with the generic cheat for now. The tiger sprints at Sun Ran. With its claws out and mouth wide open, it lunges at Sun Ran. Back at the headquarters, the observer asks Hansheng if Sun Ran has been scared silly, causing Hansheng to shout back to be quiet. He wants Sun Ran to show him if he is an idiot or a pro. As the tiger nears, its front paw steps on the magic circle created by Sun Ran, who turns sideways. The tiger gives a shocked look as it is blasted backwards by a sudden emergence of huge ice crystals. The level 1 magic, Frost Rune. Sun Ran raises his hand and fires smaller sharp pointy ice crystals, using level 0 magic ice sting. The tiger dodges the stings and lunges at Sun Ran once more. Sun Ran sprints away with the tiger following him. The tiger raises its paw, ready to strike Sun Ran, who gives a backward glance, realizing the tiger fell for his trap. A large ice ball spawns below the tiger with sharp crystals emerging from the ball in some places. Within a second, the tiger gets trapped inside the ice, unable to move. Back at the headquarters, Chief Hansheng praises Sun Ran's moves while the observer lady is shocked to see him cast 3 skills in such a short period of time as well as predict the tiger's movements. Chief Hansheng recognizes Sun Ran's use of the Frost Rune and Ice Sting, acknowledging the user's skill and understanding of those cheats, ordering the observer to investigate Sun Ran. The observer agrees to his request. Meanwhile, the central AI is busy modifying Sun Ran's info as the system informs the information has been modified. At the headquarters, the lady brings out Sun Ran's information and the chief goes through them, learning Sun Ran has a clean record and legal maneuvers. He asks the observer how many people are left, to which the observer replies only 3, including Sun Ran, out of 400 are left. And the Chief Hansheng declares that those 3 shall be the heroes enlisted as guards. The system informs Sun Ran congratulations for clearing the assessment. It tells Sun Ran he has passed as his actions were legal, and looking at the screen, Sun Ran sees 2 others also passed. One of them to have passed is a huge muscly guy named Rum, and the other is named Jasmine, and both their attributes and information are displayed. Sun Ran wipes the screen away and declares the official commission to begin, a look of pleasure on his face. Standing on a cliff, he stares at an island, with huge sharp things emerging out of it. The ground of the island is covered in lava rocks, only its middle part covered in massive pointy crystals-like things. And on the ground, there resting is a large dragon. Find Baron Charlie, the bronze enforcer, and help eradicate the destroyers. Sun Ran curses the potential eavesdroppers, suspecting skilled players among the destroyers, and questions the Sure Company's communication with enforcers via data link as he hurries to warn them. In the headquarters, the observer tells Chief Hansheng that number 1, Sun Ran, is randomly casting spells in the forest. The observer says that Sun Ran rejected their data link as Hansheng tells him to cut to Sun Ran's camera. A warning issues that says the message has been compromised, putting the enforcers in danger, shocking Chief Hansheng. He hastily instructs the observers to focus on monitoring Cloud City, who all agree. The Cloud City is in flames, the dragon issuing fire from its mouth, burning everything in its path. The citizens all run for their lives, and the dragon continues rampaging in the Cloud City. Chief Hansheng remarks the dragon attack occurred prematurely, instructing the lady to contact Charlie, who reports his lodging's destruction and rejection of their data link, sending them a message. The message sent by Charlie tells them not to contact him during the mission unless absolutely necessary, recommending passive observation to avoid being exposed. Chief Hansheng looks pissed off, saying they underestimated their opponents and became careless. He reveals there are nearly 30,000 players in the Cloud City and believes many must have already died, causing heavy compensation to give out, and he doesn't want to lose his job, so he instructs to prepare the divine punishment and blast the dragon. The male observer says that preparing the divine punishment will take time and suggests they take the help of enforcers to increase the chance of dealing a fatal blow. The divine punishment is a punitive measure of game companies. It's basically a lightning, whose damage can be changed as needed, and it is capable of obliterating all beings in the game. The lady observer says she has found out Charlie's location. The dragon is continuing its rampage, burning all buildings and people. Charlie is currently hiding in the tall clock tower, a massive sword in his hands, possibly waiting to attack along with the divine punishment. Chief Hanching reveals that the strength of a player in name corresponds to the strength of their real-life bodies and thinks it's wise of Charlie to wait and strike with divine punishment as his body is at level 0, though the weapon is a level 3 divine 1. But the chief is unsure if the city will be able to hold until that time arrives. The commander commands the archers to release their arrows. The arrows merely bounce off the dragon's scaly armor. It aims its mouth at those archers and burns them to a crisp. Still hiding, Charlie thinks that the dragon, created with level 3 data, will require tens of thousands of level 0 regular arrows to cause even a tiny amount of damage to its scales. He knows it will take some time to activate the divine punishment and believes enforcers like him should remain cautious and take down the dragon. As the dragon approaches the clock tower, Charlie sees an opportunity, hopeful that with the dragon's level 2 flesh and blood, he can slay it if he breaks through its armor. He turns to face the dragon, but it's nowhere in sight. Suddenly, the dragon flies behind Charlie with a huge roar and destroys the top part of the tower. It lands itself onto the tower and from there breathes out fire, burning everything it can. Charlie has managed to hold on to something with his one hand and is dangling off the tower. Struggling to hold on, he curses the dragon. The stone he is holding onto breaks off as the dragon leaps into the air. Charlie falls down and seeing the dragon not attack him directly, thinks it hasn't discovered his presence. He steps onto something and pushes himself upwards, his sword raised. The dragon opens its mouth, forming fire within it. Charlie approaches towards the dragon. He swings his sword, shouting at the dragon to die. His sword strikes the dragon's throat, cutting through it. He then jumps on top of the dragon and propels himself forward. As the headless dragon slams into the ground, Charlie leaps off onto the roof of a nearby building. People emerge from hiding, peering out and walking into the streets, all marveling at the dead body on the ground. They notice Charlie standing on the roof and all hail his name. Charlie gives a sigh of relief. Back at the headquarters, Chief Hanching rejoices and praises Charlie, while the observer informs him the divine punishment is ready. The chief says that since the blood dragon is dead, they will keep the divine punishment ready to use on the 2 other dragons if they appear, and inquires about their losses. The observer reports over 1,000 fatal casualties, with the chief asking about discrete revivals, to which the observer estimates around 800, as the rest were burnt. Chief Hanching suggests they do that while he thinks the losses of 100 players are still bearable and decides to negotiate and compensate them with game time. The observer reminds the chief that the other 3 trainee enforcers might be under pursuit. The system reports the states of the 3 heroes and informs that the warrior has been stabbed to death. And the illusionist, Jasmine, has escaped with her illusion arts, while Sun Ran is currently being ambushed. Sun Ran stands before hundreds of skeleton warriors, with weapons and armors approaching him. The destroyer who summoned the skeletons asks Sun Ran if he will take his own life or if he should give him a ride to hell. Sun Ran acknowledges that the destroyer is fast and claims he knows some spells as well and says he will take him on. The destroyer laughs loudly, mocking Sun Ran for his level 0 Ice Sting and level 1 Frost Rune spells. He claims that he even has a level 2 staff enhancing his strength and asks Sun Ran what he is going to fight him with. He says that his army will tear Sun Ran to shreds as they near Sun Ran. Sun Ran fires sharp ice stings at the skeletons, destroying some of them. He turns away as more skeletons lunge at him. The skeleton sword strikes the Frost Rune, causing massive ice to form on the spot, destroying the skeletons near it. Sun Ran raises both his hands and fires more stings crystals at the skeletons. He then jumps on top of the ice he summoned. The destroyer discloses that his skeleton soldiers may be brittle, but their large number makes them tricky to deal with. Seeing Sun Ran manage to steadily and continuously cast the ice sting without getting tired, he acknowledges his decent magic control. He shouts out that despite all the efforts, Sun Ran won't be able to escape death as he summons his champion. The ground cracks open, and following a huge hand, a massive giant emerges, holding a club in its hand. Sun Ran recognizes it as a level 2 giant. The destroyer commands the giant to kill Sun Ran, and the giant sprints towards him. Sunran fires more ice stings towards the giant who approaches him. The giant swings his club and destroys the giant ice structure into pieces. Sunran jumps down to the ground and gets on his knees to break his fall. In an instant, he is surrounded by countless skeleton armies. He quickly jumps backwards, firing more ice stings, and draws multiple frost runes with his feet. The giant roars at Sunran, but he steps onto the symbol, causing his foot to be trapped in the ice. The ice imprisons him, unable to move. Back at headquarters, Chief Hansheng, surprised by Sunran's skills, is asked if they should adjust his level 1 permissions to help against the level 2 giant. Chief Hansheng tells the observer to wait, wanting to see how far Sunran can go before increasing his permissions, which would require better control and data manipulation. Back at the battle, the destroyer asks Sunran if he really believes he can defeat the level 2 giant with his level 1 frost rune. Meanwhile, Sunran charges at the destroyer himself. The destroyer realizes this and claims he won't let that happen. The destroyer turns around and runs away while Sunran shoots the ice stings at him. The skeletons block the ice stings as the destroyer sprints away looking horrified. He manages to get behind a large boulder. He acknowledges his reflexes saved him, admits either Sunran's ice stings will kill him or Sunran will be crushed by his giant, and reveals he still has more skeleton soldiers to hold Sunran back. Meanwhile, the giant breaks his leg free from the ice and, roaring, charges at Sunran. Back at the headquarters, the observer says that they can't wait any longer and the chief orders to give Sunran level 2 perms. The chief, surprised, questions how Sunran is casting spells without increased permissions, to which the observer clarifies that Sunran isn't dual casting but casting them within 0.1 seconds of each other. The chief asks if Sunran showcased the strength of level 2 perms with only level 1 perms. Despite that, the chief thinks casting level 1 spells barehanded with a level 0 body is like a death sentence. The giant nears Sunran, who inscribes a huge frost rune beneath him. Suddenly, enormous ice emerges from the ground, right where the giant and Sunran were. The destroyer's shocked look turns into a smile as he is certain such a huge blow must have killed Sunran. But a second later, the destroyer's head separates from his body and falls down. Sunran gives a smile, his hands raised, and says he didn't think the destroyer would fall for that. With the giant's whole body trapped in the ice, Sunran says it's his win. The headless body of the destroyer lays sprawled on the ground. The skeletons and the giant all burn away. The observers and the chief all cheer in the headquarters. The chief, with a wide smile, says that Sunran is calm, intelligent, and the living embodiment of an ice mage. Sunran bends down and grabs the destroyer's staff, saying it's no good to the destroyer. Holding the level 2 staff, he hopes he won't injure himself when casting level 2 spells anymore. Sunran is thrilled to learn of his promotion to Iron Enforcer, along with level 2 permissions and a commission of 2009 credit points, shouting out in joy, "Awesome!" He reveals that the evaluation system is exclusive to official enforcers and relies on AI to assess contributions, where higher contributions yield a greater commission fee. He wonders what that bronze enforcer in Cloud City must be doing. Meanwhile, the head of the blood dragon has been mounted on the wall above the entrance into the city. Sunran looks up at the head, acknowledging the clean cut, and impressed by Charlie's skill, he decides to head over to Ground Zero to search for leads. As he enters the city, he sees destruction everywhere. He bends down on his knees and, checking the soil, says there's only scorched earth and debris. Suddenly, he hears someone telling him to give up. He swiftly turns around, activating the golden gaze. Sunran encounters a girl who reports finding no leads in the area, but he suspects it's an illusion, believing the real body is still hidden nearby. He tells the real one to show herself and introduces himself. The real person hiding nearby walks out. She introduces herself as Jasmine, another escort guard, and says Charlie is a bronze enforcer who wouldn't have left a single trace if he wanted to go into hiding. Sunran says there's nothing of value around there, and he suggests to Jasmine that they go and rest, as they are tired from all the long travel. Jasmine agrees. Both of them move to the undestroyed part of the city. A lady welcomes them as Sunran requests for 2 meals. Concerned, Jasmine calls out Sunran for openly asking about Charlie, reminding him of the risk of exposing themselves to assassins hired by the destroyers who might be watching their every move. Sunran assures Jasmine, confident in the city's guards, and hopes Charlie, hidden, will receive their signal. They go inside the inn and take a table. Jasmine asks how long they will have to wait, and Sunran says until Charlie comes to them. Jasmine asks if Charlie will really come, as the longer they wait, the more dangerous it will be for them. She warns Sunran that the assassins arrived long ago and are waiting to strike. Looking calm, Sunran reassures Jasmine, who asks if he has discovered them. Sunran thinks that Jasmine is quick-witted and decent at dealing with situations but lacks experience. The waitress brings the tray of food and puts it on the table. Sunran grabs the waitress's hand and puts 2 gold coins on it as a tip, while Jasmine looks in horror at her purse. The waitress thanks Sunran, blowing him a kiss. While Sunran blushes, Jasmine scolds him for using her money and demands he pay it back. Sunran smirks and tells Jasmine he will repay her with her life. He then pours some liquid into her food, which emits blue smoke, leaving her speechless. She discloses that she previously checked the food with magic and found no poison but noticed a reaction when Sunran's poison, which reacts when mixed with others, was poured onto it. Sunran surprises Jasmine by stealing the antidote from the waitress and suggests they scatter it on top of the food before eating, explaining his suspicion of the waitress as a lucky guess when she turns out to be an assassin. The door of the inn opens, and a guy wearing a hood walks in. He walks towards Sunran and Jasmine. He introduces himself as Baron Charlie once he reaches their table. Sunran tells Charlie it's an honor to meet him, while Jasmine stands up, telling Sunran to wait. With suspicion, Jasmine tells Charlie to prove his identity. But Charlie turns to Sunran and tells him to explain to Jasmine how he confirmed his identity. Sunran points to other customers and says that none of them glanced at Charlie when he entered, showing that he is a regular. He adds that a mysterious person in Cloud City making a beeline for them can only be Charlie, and Charlie acknowledges his skills. Charlie turns around and tells Sunran he passed the test and earned the right to work with him. Jasmine asks Charlie if the poison was his doing and reminds him they are teammates, but Charlie says they weren't teammates at that time. He suggests Jasmine think a little quicker if she wants to be a qualified enforcer and says he has booked a room for them and tells them to follow him. Seated in the room, Charlie says that they are dealing with a troublesome destroyer who is probably a member of the infamous Scorpion mercenary regiment in real life. He explains that it's an infamous destroyer organization known all over the world, focusing on disrupting the balance in games. He says that all the members in the organization are wanted terrorists, and if any are exposed, the finger of God will immediately obliterate them. He further explains that they are dealing with the Dragon King of Dragon Age, which has a level 4 body structure and can switch freely between human and dragon forms. It hasn't appeared in public because it's looking for the Divine Commandment Ring, which was used to create the world. And when it finds the Divine Ring, it will be able to destroy Dragon Age in an instant, and their mission will fail. Jasmine questions the existence of such a dangerous object, and Charlie suggests it might be the result of a mistake by the game company. Sunran reveals that there's no way to destroy things created with the game's raw data, just like Earth OL's Jade Butterfly of Creation. Charlie explains that they have 2 options: annihilate the Dragon King using divine punishment or find the commandment ring to get rid of the Dragon King. But he expresses concern that the divine commandment ring is a random drop, so it's extremely difficult to find, which Sunran agrees with. Sunran asks Charlie if the game company told him about the creation of this world or if it's Dragon Age's local legend. Charlie says it's a local legend. Sunran smirks, seeing it as proof that someone had already obtained the divine artifact, and suggests they search myths, legends, and ancient records for clues. Charlie exclaims why he didn't think of it sooner, and ponders whether the revered staff, a divine weapon passed down since the creation of Dragon Age, could be what they seek. Saying so, Charlie also adds that Argus Peak is 300 leagues from the Cloud City, with dangerous roads, and he's unsure even if he can get to the Summer Palace safely. Sunran stands up and says he has an idea. He suggests they die first. Hearing this, Jasmine asks what he means, and Sunran says they might have to possess new bodies. He explains that game companies look for players who have almost finished their game time and get enforcers to possess them, so all they would need to do is possess the bodies of those who are near the Summer Palace. After a while, Charlie enters, announcing he arranged for a giant eagle to transport their weapons to Argus Peak, declaring their current bodies useless. He raises his sword and, to avoid affecting the in-game experience, offers to destroy Sunran's and Jasmine's bodies and later kill himself. With the sword close to her throat, Jasmine tells Charlie to hold on and questions why they can't be teleported or transformed into dragons so they can fly to their destination. Sunran explains that the use of teleportation would upset the game's balance, and transforming them into other creatures is banned. Charlie asks them if they are ready to die as Jasmine's face shows true horror. She weeps and thanks Sunran, as Charlie beheads them both. After a moment of darkness, Sunran finds himself standing on the virtual web space of Dragon Age. He claims he's only been out of the game for 0.1 seconds, realizing he's obtained a clear sense of the virtual world and memorized its appearance and data flow at his current speed of thought. His body begins dissolving into pixels as he learns there are large amounts of data converging at Argus Peak and believes there's a chance that the divine ring created by Dragon Age is nearby. He finds himself sitting down on snow, feeling quite cold. He looks ahead and sees someone, thinking if it's Charlie. The person turns to Sun Ran, weeping. Sun Ran realizes it's Jasmine. Jasmine starts wailing loudly that she became a man and says she feels awkward with the body while Sun Ran tries to assure her she will get used to it. Meanwhile, Charlie, who appeared nearby them, is laughing. He explains to Jasmine that the higher-ups couldn't find a suitable body, so they assigned the man's body to her, while Jasmine continues to complain about its discomfort. Sun Ran tells them to wait until their weapons arrive. He believes the Divine Commandment Ring is split into 4 fragments, one of which is at the Argus Peak, and he thinks the Sure Staff is one of the fragments and hopes to not let it fall into the hands of the Dragon King. Charlie informs Sun Ran that the weapons are there. Suddenly, 2 massive creatures appear in the sky, flying towards the 3 of them. Charlie curses at seeing the dragons and tells the others to find shelter quick. The 2 dragons fly towards Charlie and the others. As they run, Jasmine exclaims the dragons have discovered them and there's nowhere to hide with snow everywhere. Sun Ran suggests digging a pit for shelter if needed. The Dragon King opens its mouth and gives a deafening roar, causing an avalanche. Meanwhile, at headquarters, the Observer informs Chief Hanshing that their plans were leaked, as the destroyer-controlled dragons have reached Argus Peak. Chief Hanshing looks worried, hoping the 3 of them will hang on. Back at the peak, with the avalanche nearing, Jasmine cries out, Sun Ran digs frantically, and Charlie grimly suggests preserving their bodies for revival, admitting there's no escape. A while later, Sun Ran stands up, saying it should do. In front of him is a small pit as the avalanche nears them. Charlie raises his arms ahead to shield his face from the avalanche. For a while, nothing can be seen apart from the heavy mass of snow sliding down. The dragons fly over the avalanche. The Dragon King commands the other fire dragon to stand guard by the enforcers' corpses and kill them over and over if they revive. And he says he will go to the Summer Palace to look for the fragment of the Divine Commandment Ring. Saying so, he flies off. Back at headquarters, the Observer reports the Dragon King's approach to the Summer Palace, prompting the chief to order the condensation of divine punishment above it. The chief frets over potential repercussions, fearing that any mishap involving the VIP sorcerers at the Summer Palace could tarnish the company's reputation, leading to his dismissal. He thinks they can now only pray that the fragment of the Divine Commandment Ring isn't there. Blood pours down from Sun Ran's head as he reveals he used multiple ice stings to create an ice sphere, reinforcing its structure, but worries about the limited oxygen inside. The dragon takes a long breath in and releases a massive amount of fire. Sun Ran emerges from the snow and sees the dragon melting massive amounts of ice in the distance. He activates his golden gaze. Doing so, he notices Charlie and Jasmine's bodies trapped in the snow as the dragon closes in, worrying their bodies will be burnt. He emerges from the snow and decides to divert the fire dragon's attention. He fires a number of ice stings at the dragon. The stings strike the dragon's chest, eliciting a loud scream. Sun Ran calls out to divert the dragon's attention towards himself. The dragon notices Sun Ran, recognizing him as an enforcer, and fires a massive fireball at him, remarking he seems to have a death wish. Sun Ran raises his staffs, firing more ice stings, and creates a large frost rune. The fireball heads straight for Sun Ran. It collides onto the frost rune, exploding upon impact. Back at headquarters, Chief Hanshing is bewildered seeing Sun Ran's ability, while the Observer admits his casting skills are OP. Sun Ran looks focused, his staff raised in front of him, successfully managing to block the dragon's aura. He then speaks to the Chief and the Observers, urging them to hurry up and revive Charlie. The Chief and the Observer are both stunned at Sun Ran's request. However, the Chief knows the success of the commission depends on the fate of their company, so he decides to send Sun Ran a spell. Sun Ran receives the spell with his staff and expresses his gratitude as he calls the dragon. He extends his staff and points it at the dragon, telling it to taste his ultimate move. The Dragon King warns the Fire Dragon about Sun Ran's new spell, but the Fire Dragon claims he can only be injured by level 3 spells, so a level 2 mage like Sun Ran should not be a problem. The Observer doubts Sun Ran could have grasped a level 2 spell in those few seconds, a sentiment echoed by the Chief, considering the extensive training required for data control. However, the Chief acknowledges that if Sun Ran managed to learn it in a short time, it would be an unexpected achievement. Jasmine and Charlie both emerge from the snow, gasping for air. They pull their whole bodies out of the ice, with Charlie noticing Sun Ran's diversion of the dragon's attacks, while Jasmine suggests they go and help him. Charlie notices his weapon is missing. He spots it nearby and runs towards it. Jasmine shouts out that she will help Charlie. Using her magic, she creates clones of him to confuse the dragon's targeting. Jasmine even clones his sword, the dragon's demise. The fire dragon spots Jasmine and the many forms of Charlie running below. Meanwhile, Sunran smirks and points the staff at the dragon, announcing he will use his ultimate move. The dragon, about to turn away, curses in rage. From the tip of his staff, Sunran shoots a massive number of ice stings in the form of a tiger's jaw. The attack smacks onto the fire dragon's face but causes him no harm. At headquarters, the chief looks frustrated seeing the ultimate move wasted, cursing the expenditure of 10,000 credit points on it. Meanwhile, the enraged dragon flares his nostrils, sending jets of fire and questioning Sunran how he dares to deceive him. He then breathes out fire at the dragon's demise weapon as the clones of Charlie flee in different directions. The real Charlie reaches out for his sword, thinking it's now or never. Sunran tells Charlie to watch out as he produces the frost rune between Charlie and the fireball. Charlie finally grabs onto his sword as behind him, the fireball explodes, striking the rune. The dragon watches down at the three figures of Charlie, all holding the dragon's demise. Charlie tells the dragon to clean his neck as he is coming for it. All three clones of Charlie run towards the fire dragon, their swords poised to attack. Jasmine raises her hands to give Charlie another boost. She triples the number of Charlie's clones to 9, all of whom sprint at the dragon, who expresses outrage at a mortal like Charlie daring to challenge him. The dragon breathes out fire, burning some clones, but he is not able to determine which Charlie is the real one. As the Charlies close in, the dragon realizes he can't go head-to-head and decides to retreat. But before it can fly away, Sunran creates a massive frost rune behind the dragon. The dragon collides with the rune, and large chunks of ice push him downwards. With a deafening crash, the dragon slams into the snow. Sunran gives a triumphant laugh, saying he knew the dragon would try to escape, so he was waiting with the rune. Now enraged, the dragon bellows that he will kill them all. Suddenly, Charlie comes jumping down at the dragon, his sword raised above him. Before the dragon can react, he shouts for it to die and severs its head clean. The dragon's head slams down nearby as its body falls down. Charlie laughs and says their teamwork was awesome. Jasmine also jumps into the air, cheering in joy. Sunran sighs with relief and reminds the two that there is now one last enemy left to take down. Meanwhile, far away somewhere in space, Akin, the Archmage of the Summer Palace, questions where he is. Someone appears before Akin, introducing herself as the divine emissary of Shur's supreme god and claiming she has come to convey God's will to him. In the Summer Palace meeting hall, Akin, sitting at the end of the table, opens his eyes, with 4 others sitting on either side. A member among them exclaims that Akin is awake, addressing him as Lord. Akin explains that a divine emissary told him the Dragon King has betrayed their supreme god and will arrive at their palace, bringing great calamity. The others are bewildered by this intel, and the man with the long beard says the Dragon King will be the most terrifying opponent the Summer Palace has ever faced. Seeing them terrified, Akin assures them not to panic and reminds them that the divine emissary told him dragon slayers would come to their aid. He says he thought he was hallucinating at first and now shows the image of the Dragon King already at the Summer Palace's doorstep. He then orders the others to activate the defense formation immediately and tells them to do their best to maintain the barrier. All of them shout in agreement. Meanwhile, Akin says he will go and confront the Dragon King. There is major commotion in the palace as hundreds of mages walk outside. They all get into formation and raise both their hands. As the Dragon King flies nearer, a transparent barrier surrounds the whole palace, including the walls. The dragon gives out a deafening roar, releasing sound waves that strike the barrier. He greets the mages and bids them farewell at the same time, releasing dark flames from its mouth. The flames hit the barrier, causing some mages to withdraw their hands in shock while the old man tells them all to maintain the barrier. Akin, riding on a bird made of ice, flies towards the Dragon King to confront him. He declares to the dragon that it's not a place for him to run wild. The Dragon King opens his mouth and surrounds himself in dark flames. He begins transforming, and soon instead of the dragon, he takes the form of a man, with horns and a terrifying aura surrounding him. He looks up at the sky and notes that it will take some time for the divine punishment to be ready, so he decides to enter the Summer Palace and eradicate all the VIPs. He then flies towards the barrier and slices through it with his dark blade-like energy. A huge gap forms in the barrier through which the Dragon King flies in. The other mages below lose their focus and are sent off balance, some even spitting blood. The Dragon King says he is the battle dog, Morphlon, and questions if anyone can stop him. Aiken notices the barrier has been breached and curses in worry. He notes that one must pass through the Time Hall to enter the academy. He flies after Morphlon, hoping to stop him at the Time Hall. He lands inside the Time Hall and gets off the Icebird. He is determined not to let Morphlon take a single step, even if he has to stake his Archmage title on it. As he scans around the hall, Aiken notices nothing odd. Suddenly, from above, a large head of a statue comes hurling down. It slams down in front of Aiken and rests. Seeing the head of the statue of the Summer Palace's founding Archmage, Aiken curses Morphlon for destroying it. From the other side, Morphlon walks in, asking Aiken if he is happy with the gift. With a face twisted in anger, Aiken demands to know Morphlon's intentions, who in turn requests Aiken to surrender the staff he holds, pledging to depart immediately. Aiken reminds Morphlon of his divine lineage and accuses him of betraying his father, dismissing his words as laughable. Morphlon raises the dark energy blade and slices the air in anger. He then tells Aiken he has left him no choice but to take the staff by force. At that moment, 4 of the council members come running in, declaring they will provide Aiken support. All 4 of them stand in formation and put up a defensive barrier around Aiken. He then raises his staff and fires lightning at Morphlon, telling him to have a taste of it. But Morphlon uses his sword to block the attack. He then acknowledges Aiken's skills as an Archmage, noting the level 3 skill he cast is stronger than a level 4 skill cast from others. As he extends his arms backwards, producing a flame above his palms. After that, he pushes his hand in front of him and fires a massive amount of dark energy from his palms. Aiken gives an anxious look. The dark flames strike the shield in front of Aiken, shattering it. One of the men who was lending support to Aiken coughs blood, clutching his stomach. Now only 3 planes of rune barriers are left surrounding Aiken. Morphlon confidently asserts Aiken's inability to stop him. Aiken questions if his Summer Palace, which has stood for millennia, will be destroyed today. Impatiently, he wonders where the Dragonslayer could be. Meanwhile, Sun Ran and the 2 others have arrived at the Summer Palace, carried by large birds in their claws. Jasmine, looking terrified, asks Charlie if there wasn't another professional way to travel, while Sun Ran points towards the divine punishment, noting it's already taking shape. The bird carrying Jasmine, tired and unable to hold her any longer, drops her below. Jasmine plunges through the roof of the hall where Morphlon and Aiken are having their confrontation. As she falls, shouting frantically, Aiken and Morphlon both watch her with interest. She slams into the ground as Morphlon swiftly takes a few steps backwards. Jasmine looks passed out from fear and impact. Aiken exclaims in shock, but Morphlon immediately raises his sword and lunges at Jasmine, stating intruders must die. At that moment, Charlie's sword comes hurling down and rests between Jasmine and Morphlon. Sun Ran and Charlie both jump down as well, Sun Ran asking if Jasmine is alright while Charlie assures she will be fine as her body is built like a brick. The ones providing Aiken support all exclaim in relief that the Dragonslayer is there. Morphlon doesn't look pleased as he clicks his tongue impatiently. Sun Ran helps Jasmine stand up, cautioning Charlie that the dragon armor and Morphlon's sword are both level 4, which Charlie admits will make it difficult to slay him. Charlie agrees with this plan as his body transforms into a more bulky size, his muscles extending. He then sprints towards Morphlon, his sword raised, asking Sun Ran and Jasmine to watch his back. Back at the headquarters, Chief Hunching shows his approval of Charlie's guts. He instructs the observation team to keep their eyes on the destroyer and the divine punishment team to have the thunderbolt at the ready. He accepts that the fate of Dragon Age is in Charlie's hands. Aiken tells Charlie to continue holding Dragon King Morphlon back. He shoots out an electrical charge at Morphlon while Charlie charges with his sword. Morphlon uses his sword to block Aiken's attack. He raises his other hand towards Charlie, telling him to die. Sun Ran recognizes Morphlon's level 3 skill, Shadow Flame, and warns Charlie to watch out. As the Shadow Flame nears Charlie, he turns sideways, asking what Sun Ran meant. Jasmine also gets into action, activating the illusionary arts. She duplicates Charlie's figure, producing many clones. The Shadow Flame passes through the clones, missing the real Charlie by inches. Charlie gives a smile and is impressed with Jasmine, giving her his seal of approval. Meanwhile, Morphlon produces another flame on his palms, deeming Jasmine's ability a petty parlor trick. He then shoots a massive beam of dark energy at Charlie's clones, blasting them all at once, saying the illusions will only buy them little time. Looking worried, Charlie gets ready to brace the impact with his sword, not sure if he can withstand it. But before the attack can strike him, Sun Ran produces a frost rune, which blocks off the flame. Charlie continues his charge, laughing and praising Sun Ran for his skills. Morphlon decides to get rid of Sun Ran first and shoots another flame at him. However, Charlie intervenes in between and slashes the dark flame away from hitting Sun Ran. Sun Ran raises his staff, eyes closed, and summons a number of frost runes in front of Morphlon. Aiken marvels at seeing Charlie's and Sun Ran's teamwork. Morphlon is also taken aback, finding it difficult to deal with them. He then calls out to someone to stop watching and give him a hand. Aiken is puzzled hearing this. Suddenly, one of the members assisting Aiken with the plane of rune barrier pushes him from behind, causing Aiken to spit out blood. All of the others are startled at seeing this. The traitor reveals he is Lord Morphlon's undercover agent, a dagger in his hand. Aiken, who is on his knees, shouts at the traitor to die and sends a bolt of lightning at him. The lightning strikes the traitor, releasing a huge outburst of energy. Even Aiken himself gets affected by the impact of his own lightning. He slams down on his face while the 4 others, along with the traitor, are all burnt to a crisp. Back at the headquarters, the observer shouts out to the chief that Aiken is dead. The chief notes that not just Aiken but all 5 mages have been killed. Morphlon, now smiling, says that his pawn he placed there played such a critical role and now claims without the resistance, it will be impossible for the enforcers to defeat him. Charlie charges at Morphlon, and Morphlon blocks off his sword with his own. Charlie says that even if Aiken is dead, it doesn't mean Morphlon can belittle them, while Morphlon tells him his level 3 weapon and body can't withstand his level 4 dragon blade. Saying so, Morphlon cuts through Charlie's sword and slices his throat. Jasmine screams out for Charlie, horror-struck. But Charlie is dead. Morphlon steps onto Charlie's body and, giving a loud laugh, asks who will stop him next. Back at headquarters, the chief orders to deploy high-ranked enforcers, but the lady informs him they're still recruiting and can't activate the teleport due to a lack of applicants. The chief, in disbelief, mutters it's all over. Back at the palace, Morphlon walks towards the dead body of Aiken. As he nears, he doesn't spot the divine weapon laying nearby Aiken and he asks where it is. Sun Ran, standing a little further behind Morphlon, asks him if he is looking for this, holding the divine weapon. Morphlon, looking angry, asks Sun Ran how he dare steal his divine weapon, producing dark flames above his palms. He then fires circular dark balls of flames towards Sun Ran, saying he will comply with his death request. Sun Ran quickly produces frost runes to block off Dragon King Morphlon's attacks. He marvels at the staff, agreeing that it's one of the creationary fragments, and notes that having it with him is like possessing level 4 perms. Morphlon, smirking, says that even if Sun Ran's ice sting is enhanced, it will still be at level 2 and asks him if he has any other tricks up his sleeve. But Sun Ran tells Dragon King Morphlon not to be too sure of that as he summons a large number of ice stings above him. He directs them at Dragon King Morphlon with high speed. The stings collide with Dragon King Morphlon, who uses his arm to block them off his face and is shocked to see such fast casting speed of Sun Ran's. Even Jasmine is impressed with Sun Ran's strength and says he is truly worthy of being hailed as the leader of the mages. Back at the headquarters, the observer informs the chief that Sun Ran is in possession of the staff and is suppressing the destroyer. Sun Ran mocks Morphlon for getting beaten down with the ice stings that are not even at level 2. Morphlon looks worried as he realizes Sun Ran's attacks will collapse the hall, subjecting him to divine punishment. Aware of the deadly consequences of divine punishment, he begins transforming as a massive surge of dark energy surrounds him. A while later, the massive dragon form of Morphlon stands in front of Sun Ran, who says Sun Ran is strong but still on a low level. Sun Ran says that he suddenly thought of something. Morphlon asks him what it is and if he is going to admit defeat. Sun Ran reveals his acquisition of a level 2 spell, Frost Whirl, and muses on its potential amplified effect with the divine staff, declaring his intent to demonstrate it to Morphlon. The chief, noticing Sun Ran's impending use of the spell given just 10 minutes prior, questions how he learned it so quickly and asks the lady to check his information again. The lady tells the chief that Sun Ran is a genius. She explains that it's stated in his personal info that he had already played in 15 different virtual worlds by the age of 15 and obtained great achievements in every world. She also adds that apart from martial arts, Sun Ran also mastered all things including being a great sage in the World of Wizardry, a silver-ranked world. Acknowledging the information, the chief concedes that if Sun Ran were a great mage in the virtual world of Wizardry, then mastering new spells would be effortless for him. Back at the palace, Morphlon reminds Sun Ran that higher spell levels mean longer time to cast as he lunges at him, telling him to die. Sun Ran tells Morphlon he is too late and he uses the level 2, Frost Whirl. Then he fires the spell at Morphlon, striking it on him chest. Smoke and dust cover Morphlon from the huge impact. He curses in rage and shouts at Sun Ran if he dare dreams of defeating him. Sun Ran smirks, claiming he can defeat Morphlon just using the Frost Whirl alone with the level 4 staff. Morphlon bellows at Sun Ran, asking who he is. Sun Ran says that he is just an ordinary player who is now an enforcer, and he raises his staff, summoning a lot of ice stings above him, and declares Morphlon to go forth and receive his divine punishment. Morphlon is shocked to see Sun Ran produce so many ice stings at once. Sun Ran then blasts Morphlon out of the hall. The other mages notice that Morphlon is injured and question who the man fighting him is. Sun Ran walks out of the hall, and the mages notice he is holding Archmage Aiken's staff. Morphlon bellows out that he will kill Sun Ran in rage, but Sun Ran calmly reminds him it's too late for him. The chief back at the headquarters orders to activate the divine punishment immediately. Following the chief's orders, the observer presses the button, and back at the palace, a massive bolt of lightning hurls out from the sky, striking Morphlon, who screams out in pain and evaporates. In the virtual world public virtual facilities division, a small explosion sends something like a door blasting off. Two men notice the explosion, and one of them calls for help while the other asks if the sensorial chair exploded. Sitting on the chair, a man seems like he got electrocuted. The screen displays that the man is the son of the creationary god Dragon King Battle God Morphlon, who is dead. The other mages all cheer at Sun Ran for defeating Morphlon. They hail Sun Ran and thank him for saving them. Sun Ran gives a sigh. At that moment, from the sky, the emissary of the Supreme God sure descends down and tells Sun Ran the Supreme God is in great admiration of his intelligence and strength. The emissary asks Sun Ran if he will go to the Holy Kingdom of Shur. Sun Ran agrees to go with him as the mission is complete. As he is about to leave, he notices Jasmine watching him from behind, but he knows that he met with her by chance and now they must part, as he has always believed that whatever happens in the virtual world stays in the virtual world. This way, Archmage Sun Ran battled the Dragon King Morphlon at Argus Peak and defeated him, and Sun Ran was invited by the creationary god of Shur to ascend to the Holy Kingdom. Henceforth, a legend that will last for eternity was born. The system informs that Sun Ran's mission is completed as it begins to teleport him. At the garden, Mansion number 64. A man with braids-like hair watches a news report announcing the death of a gamer. He, wearing VR glasses, commands to connect him to the darknet. He then gets connected to the Scorpion mercenary troop, encrypted darknet, and is joined by two others. The man with white hair mentions that number 4 died in the newly established Dragon Age. The man with the glasses affirms and asks when they will avenge him. The man with white hair suggests observing their opponent, speculating he was once a former destroyer like them, while the woman suggests he must have been exposed and converted into an enforcer from a destroyer, eliciting laughter from the man with glasses, who remarks they can easily find an opportunity to kill him. The man with white hair, addressing the one with glasses as number 3, warns him not to be reckless due to tight security. But number 3, addressing him as number 1, argues he is overly cautious, pointing out their 10 years of operation without discovery. Number 3 says he will now get going as they are done talking, and he disconnects. Back in the real world, number 3 slams his glasses on the table, calling those two cowards who are scared of just a guy, and he decides to avenge number 4 himself alone. At Common Ground, District 55. Sun Ran is sitting down on his sensorial chair, wearing VR glasses. The system informs him of his successful mission and awards him credit points as well. He opens his eyes, disconnected from the game. He takes off his VR glasses and exclaims that the Iron Grade mission was too easy but the gaming experience not too bad. At that moment, Lon Xian walks in and notices Sun Ran awake, asking him how it went. Sun Ran, looking pleased, explains that he completed the mission and earned 10,000 credit points as well as 500 merits in one go, causing Lon Xian to exclaim surprise at how incredible it is. She then inspects her account and says there are still 9,232 credit points left after deducting his indemnities, and suggests him to buy a nutrient pod like her to replace his sensorial chair. Sun Ran tells Lon Xian that she is a thoughtful wife, causing her to give an angry expression, and he asks her how her mission went. Lan Xian says that a total of 10 teams went with them but all failed. Sun Ran suggests they go eat something and make a trip to the Enforcer's HQ. In Enforcer Alliance's headquarters, Rubik's Cube of Order. As Sun Ran and Lan Xian approach their companions, Lan Xian announces Sun Ran's promotion to a Black Iron Enforcer, prompting Kur to laugh and commend Sun Ran as an amazing husband. All 4 of them sit down, as Lan Xian asks Xian what the situation was like inside as she got eliminated last. Xian laments Count Dracula's political ascent to Duke of Wallachia and notes rumors of the Middle Ages gaming company hiring bronze enforcers for a mission. Sun Ran asks her to explain more about the mission in detail. Xian clarifies they're navigating the virtual world named the Dark Ages, set in the European Middle Ages of the 14th century, with their target being Duke Dracula of Duchy Wallachia. Dracula was sent to live as a hostage in the capital of the Ottoman Empire as a child, and after he rose in power, he returned to the Duchy of Wallachia and inherited the position of the Duke. Xian says that there's nothing wrong with Dracula himself as he is an ordinary pay-to-play player, but claims the illegal thing is his fate. Sun Ran asks her to elaborate on the fate. Xian explains that Dracula's intended ending was for his father to be killed by a rebel army, the Duchy of Wallachia to be overthrown, and Dracula to be exiled as a civilian due to his insufficient investment in the game. But it turns out, Dracula hired destroyers in the real world to help him successfully seize the title of the Duke in the game. Sun Ran asks Xian about the background of those destroyers. Xian replies that they are all from the Vampire Guild. Sun Ran gives a smirk hearing about the Vampire Guild. Lan Xian asks if any teams continued the mission after being eliminated, and Kur says not at the moment as most of the Black Iron teams believe they can't deal with the destroyers. At that moment, a message appears before her, and she notes that a solo bronze enforcer codenamed Jing Ku has accepted the commission and entered the game. Sun Ran asks about the commission fee, and Lan Xian responds that it's 2,000 credit points per person, but due to the troublesome opponent, the base remuneration is 5,000 points, with extra bonuses for individual contributions. Sun Ran thinks 5,000 credit points are well enough, and he asks others if they all should continue the mission together. Xian asks if they really can, as they have already been eliminated, and to try again they have to prove their team has grown stronger. Sun Ran says he received a legendary mission evaluation in Dragon Age, and believes it should satisfy the requirement that their team has gotten stronger. Both Xian and Kur are shocked hearing Sun Ran got a legendary grading. Sun Ran also reminds them that in the virtual world of Western civilizations, his prowess in alchemy is pretty good as well. Kur praises Sun Ran and says she will send a request right away and gives his codename Rosebush, to which Sun Ran says he likes that codename. The system informs that they can take on the commission, but as the new member Rosebush is good at only casting abilities so far, their base remuneration will be 3,000 credit points. Sun Ran says the reasoning isn't bad and tells Kur to accept the terms. Lan Xian asks Sun Ran if he is confident about the mission. Sun Ran says on Earth he was a great master of creation and says it's not possible he can't take down a few vampires. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran he doesn't know how to keep a low profile and likes showing off. Kur accepts the commission. A portal appears above where 4 of them are sitting down as the system tells them to abide by the 3 guiding principles of the enforcers when they enter the Dark Ages, and it begins the countdown. All 4 of them get up and get ready to proceed with their commission, ready to go and greet those fellas from the Vampire Guild. Sun Ran successfully logs into the Dark Ages and opens his eyes. He observes that the bodies possessed by his team are similar to their actual selves, at least 90% similar in appearance. A screen appears before Sun Ran, and he learns that the character he has possessed has been imprisoned after being framed. He acknowledges the game company's strategic planning and recognizes the hostile relationship between the Ottoman Empire and Duchy of Wallachia, believing that even with the destroyer's advantage, reaching there will be challenging. Kur wakes from her sleep and, looking puzzled, asks where they are. She notices a few cockroaches crawling near her and gives a yell of horror. Lan Xian, looking around, notes that they are in a really horrid place, which Xian agrees with, and Sun Ran tells them to look at the screen first. Sun Ran explains they're currently imprisoned in Istanbul, the Ottoman Empire's capital, expressing confidence that the game company will soon release them, asking the others about their abilities so they can work better together. Lan Xian says she is best with a one-handed sword and bow and explains her abilities. Kur says she is an assassin and is best with a dagger, skilled at concealing herself around shadows. Xian says she is a Taoist priest and can draw some talismans and cast some spells, At that moment, someone walks in, drawing the attention of all four. A man in a hat tells Sun Ran that someone has come forth to prove their innocence, causing them to be released, and also offers them clean clothes prepared by the warden. Sun Ran puts on the new clothes and looks at the three. Lan Xian, now in new clothes, says they fit pretty well, while Kur looks pleased. Then all four of them walk outside, and Sun Ran signals for a horse-driven carriage. He requests the driver to take them to the Orlando residence on Messiah Road, which the driver accepts. So they get into the carriage and set off on their way. Inside the carriage, Sun Ran plans to craft weapons upon arrival at the residence, instructing the others to protect him from interruptions, with Lan Xian assuring him of their support. Lan Xian gazes out the window and alerts the others to a pursuer, prompting Sun Ran to speculate it might be Dracula's associates. Xian notes that the others don't have any weapons, so she offers to deal with the pursuers by drawing a talisman. But Sun Ran tells her not to fret, remarking that the party is simply following them and they might not attack them in public. He summons Ice Sting on his palms, claiming he isn't an easy target as well. The carriage makes its way across a bridge. A while later, the driver informs them they have arrived at Orlando residence, while Lan Xian says that, as Sun Ran predicted, their stalkers didn't engage them. A servant runs out of the large house, exclaiming that the master and madam are finally back. The four of them exit the carriage, and Sun Ran points to Xian and Kur, telling the servant they are guests. Sun Ran eyes the surroundings and notices that there are other spies around as well. A while later, the four of them are sitting down at the dining table as Sun Ran tells Xian to cast a silencing barrier. Xian agrees and casts the spell. A small barrier surrounds the four of them. Sun Ran, cutting his steak, says that there were 3 people following them, 2 humans and 1 vampire. He says that according to the hierarchy of the vampire clans, he's not even a baron and not very strong, and believes if he's a destroyer, he will be easy to deal with. Lan Xian says that there aren't many destroyers around there, and the strongest of them has a level 3 body who also created the Bad Army and has at least 1,000 people in his army. Sun Ran says he also discovered something strange and shows suspicions that their enemies responded a little too quickly. Kur says her tracking is her forte, and there should be no way for Dracula's forces to identify the 4 of their identities just half an hour after possessing the bodies. Sun Ran says it's possible if an operator in the game company is feeding Dracula information. Lan Xian proceeds to contact the game admin right away. Outside Earth's atmosphere, in a massive space station, the system informs the team leader that Lan Xian is calling him. After their call is connected, Lan Xian informs the administrator that there is a traitor in the company. The chief admin, He Chan, quickly gives orders to look up all data links made between their space station and the outside world in the past 24 hours. The system commences the search and acquires relevant data link but is unable to identify the source of the data link. He Chan discovers the leaked information about Team Thorn of Roses but finds the concealed data link prevents identifying the traitor, thus ordering the system to monitor the administrator's every move, including his own. Henceforth, Lan Xian reveals the traitor's presence and that they will be offered 2,000 extra credit points as compensation, noting that the destroyer has obtained Sun Ran's information. Sun Ran predicts that since the enemy possesses his information, they're aware he's an alchemist preparing to craft weapons, making him a target during his work. Xian asks him if that's why he asked her to put up the barrier and if there are spies in the residence as well. Sun Ran asserts that with the enemies aware of their identities, they've likely made preparations, prompting him to plan to outsmart them at their own game. The vampire's hideout. A vampire informs the Lord that it's midnight. The Lord instructs number 2 to stay there and be their contact point, and if the situation changes, to leave the place immediately and report to their master. Licking his lips, his eyes glowing red, the vampire declares to let the hunt begin. It's the middle of the night and a group of vampires have arrived at Sun Ran's residence. The leader of the vampires jumps upon the house, claiming he is in. He makes his way to the rooftop, and his foot activates a spell. With a smirk he claims the paltry barrier spell can't keep him out. Suddenly, he senses movement behind him and, turning, he realizes an invisible assassin is tailing him. He claims his claws can shatter gold and stone. Kur gives a smile and swiftly rushes past the vampire, slicing at him with her blades. The vampire is taken aback as he notices his fingers have been cut off. As his fingers begin healing, suddenly he steps on the frost rune. He quickly jumps back as a large ice chunk appears at the place where he was standing before. He realizes he can't use his claws to fight anymore against the assassin's sharp dagger while in midair. He leaps right above Kur and notices her holding a small stone. As Kur throws the stone his way, he questions why she is doing that, not realizing she is trying to activate the frost rune below him. Kur takes the chance and stabs the vampire in his heart. She touches the vampire's forehead, and so the vampire's whole body gets covered in flames as he screams in pain. Walking away with the victory, Kur says it was easy peasy. She wonders how Sister Lan Xian and Xian must be doing. Meanwhile, Lan Xian has both her swords drawn and she is doing the Gongsun sword dance. Kur asks Lan Xian how she is doing, and Lan Xian, targeting another vampire after killing one, she plunges the sword into the remaining vampire while asking where Sun Ran is. Kur says she doesn't know. At that moment, Xian appears, saying she saw Sun Ran leaving the residence. Lan Xian, looking disappointed, says Sun Ran is so reckless for going alone, but at that very moment, Sun Ran announces he is back, claiming he caught the bastard while he was trying to report back to his faction. He slams the vampire on the ground and orders him to speak and question about his leader. The vampire says he will never speak the truth and never betray his master. Lan Xian explains that a low-level vampire like him likely signed a blood contract. Sun Ran tells Xian to extract the blood from the vampire and kick him out of the game. Xian puts a talisman on his forehead. It causes the vampire to be engulfed in flames as his body burns away. Sun Ran tells Kur to hand him a vial so he can collect some blood essence. Kur asks Sun Ran what he needs that vampire's blood essence for, and Sun Ran tells her she will find out in the future. Sun Ran is confident no more vampires will disturb them that night as he looks at the gray stone. Lan Xian tells Sun Ran the weapons he gave them earlier are already good and asks how the weapons forged alchemically will be. Sun Ran tells her to have a good look. Sun Ran starts refining a type of level 3 data structure ceramic alloy to be used as the prototype for making weapons. A silvery molten liquid starts flowing from the gray stone. Kur's dagger snaps as she tries to stab it into the stone. Sun Ran continues with his work, forging the weapons. A while later, he hands over a turbo crossbow to Lan Xian, saying she can try it out. As Lan Xian raises the crossbow to test it, Sun Ran says that the crossbow and bolts have level 3 data structure. He adds that the arrows are inscribed with level 3 burn runes that activate on impact, ensuring the vampires will be blown to smithereens. The arrow fired by Lan Xian strikes the fountain ahead and causes a small explosion as Kur exclaims that it's amazing and requests a similar weapon. The next day, the servant informs Sun Ran that Pastor Gross has come to visit, and Sun Ran orders to let him in without delay. He welcomes the pastor at the door and thinks he must have come because of the vampires last night. The pastor informs Sun Ran that the vampires who barged into his residence last night were no ordinary vampires and asks if he offended Duke Dracula. Sun Ran, stunned, questions the pastor's knowledge, to which he reveals Dracula's involvement with dark mages who transformed ordinary people into human-like vampires, amassing an entire army. Sun Ran, on his knees, pleads with the pastor for salvation, who, having received a divine revelation, offers him the dagger of original sin, Cain's weapon, to aid him. Accepting the dagger, Sun Ran believes the game admin must have granted it to the pastor through a dream, realizing its high-level enchantments, and resolves to depart for the duchy immediately. Sun Ran and Lan Xian, on horseback, discuss whether the destroyers are situated in the duchy's capital. Xian and Kur, on separate horses, acknowledge the uncertainty of the destroyer's presence. Sun Ran thinks for a moment and withdraws a demon-seeking compass, which he made with the blood essence of the vampire they obtained the day before. He clarifies that by using a vampire's blood, the compass leads them to its sire, and consequently, to the vampire destroyer, with the current indication pointing towards Wallachia Duchy, prompting their journey there. He then tells Lan Xian to contact the game's admin and ask them the whereabouts of Jingku, and he accidentally grabs onto Lan Xian's thigh. Lan Xian pinches him and shouts at him to keep his hands to himself. The admin locates Jingku, finding him currently hiding in the sewers beneath the city, and notes Jingku has already alerted the destroyers. This has caused the duchy to order the entire city to be locked down and is currently searching every corner for Jingku. The chief admin, He Chang, tells the observers to contact him at once. After advising Jingku to rendezvous with the Teen Rose of Thorns outside the capital, the admin is met with Jingku's insistence on solo operations as he opts to draw enemy attention and patiently await the destroyer's eventual mistake. He Chang knows he can't interfere in an enforcer's mission, so he decides to contact the Rose of Thorns and inform them of the current situation in Wallachia Duchy. Sun Ran remarks on Jingke's significant disruption and proposes a plan of splitting up and maintaining a low profile to enter the duchy, questioning whether they could employ Xuan's invisibility talismans for added stealth. Xian explains the talismans won't function due to a life force detection spell at the gate, proposing instead to make their weapons invincible to avoid detection. Sun Ran proposes splitting up near Targovist's outskirts, applying invincible talismans to their weapons, with him and Kur going solo, and instructing Xian and Lin Xia to pair up. 15. While on their way, they come across dead bodies of humans being eaten by vultures. Sun Ran explains that the corpses belong to criminals, punished by Duke Dracula, earning him the title the Impaler, emphasizing his dark and twisted nature. A while later, they reach parting roads, and Sun Ran says the gate is 1 kilometer from there and tells them to split. After splitting, Sun Ran walks along through the main gate. Once inside, he realizes the vampires are the ones in sway there and thinks it's going to be tough as even ordinary players are cooperating with them. A bird flies down onto Sun Ran's hand and transforms into a message, reading which he learns Lan Xian and others have infiltrated safely. He makes his way towards the nearby inn and inside notices Lan Xian sitting nearby. The lady informs Sun Ran of a second-floor dorm room for 15 copper a night, cautioning him against trouble to avoid the Duke's wrath, which Sun Ran acknowledges. He follows Lan Xian upstairs and notices some beaten-up men, wondering if Lan Xian and the others beat them up. Lan Xian points to Sun Ran and fakes an act, telling she has taken a liking to him and wants to sleep with him tonight. Sun Ran plays along and says that will be his honor while the other men look shocked. During their rest, Xian mentions Kur tailing a high-ranking vampire military official, prompting Sun Ran's curiosity about the official's unexpected presence. He then tells Xian to call Kur back, worried it could be a trap. So Xian uses her talismans to create a bird which she sends to Kur. 29. Meanwhile, outside, a guard says that a suspicious person has been sighted and orders the others to check a place, pointing to it. 30. Lan Xian asks if Kur is in trouble, looking worried, and Sun Ran says she is in a tight spot but hasn't been captured yet. 31. Sun Ran says that they might draw suspicion since the soldiers have entered the inn, and Lan Xian asks what they should do. Sun Ran asks if their weapons are hidden, to which Xian says they are below the bed, invincible. 32. The soldiers make their way up the stairs of the inn. 33. Sun Ran tells Xian to get up and act scared like others while Xian suggests they all go invisible, but Sun Ran says if they all disappear suddenly, it will arouse suspicion. He tells her to trust him as at that moment, a soldier kicks open the door. Through the door, a few soldiers walk in. Xian pretends to be scared, while Sun Ran, in an act of diversion, kisses Lan Xian. The soldiers, observing this, perceive no cause for suspicion and proceed to the next building. This idea of Sun Ran's works, and the soldiers leave the inn. It's late at night, and Xian and Lan Xian are asleep, but Sun Ran is awake, lying on his back. Suddenly, Kur appears there, announcing she is back. She lies beside Sun Ran and shows him the blood of the high-level vampire she managed to extract. Sun Ran asks her if she encountered any troubles along the way, to which Kur says she did. She explains that she wanted to ambush the high-ranking vampire, but when she was about to act, another shadowy figure appeared and attacked him, who was Jingke. She says that Jingke started beating the vampire, but a few soldiers arrived there and fired arrows at him. Sun Ran asks if he is dead, but Kur says Jingke managed to escape, but he was shot by poison arrows so he might not have gotten far. Sun Ran tells her to get some sleep and reminds her the city is on high alert, and the destroyers must have retreated. The next day, there is a commotion among the people in the street as some claim an assassin has been captured at the city gate, and all start hurrying towards there. Xian hears the noise and wakes up, asking what is going on outside. Sun Ran explains that the assassin has been captured. Looking horrified, Lan Xian asks if they captured Kur, but Kur says it's not her, but the one captured is the bronze enforcer, Jingke.